Nearly 50,000 people die from colon cancer each year, many because they miss the early warning signs. Ignoring these 6 subtle signs of colon cancer could be a deadly mistake. Are you aware of them? Rectal bleeding or blood in stool. One of the more alarming signs of colon cancer is rectal bleeding or finding blood in your stool. It's one of those symptoms that, if you notice it, can be pretty unsettling. But here's the thing. A lot of people dismiss it or chalk it up to something else, like hemorrhoids or a minor gastrointestinal issue. It's understandable because hemorrhoids are common and often harmless. And it's easy to want to believe that's all it is. However, when you see blood in your stool or on the toilet paper, it's something you shouldn't ignore. Blood in the stool can be either visible, appearing as bright red or maroon-colored streaks, or hidden, which you wouldn't notice without a specific test. Visible blood usually means the bleeding is coming from the lower part of your colon or rectum, while hidden blood could indicate bleeding higher up in the digestive tract. Either way, it's a sign that something's not right. Colon cancer can cause bleeding for a few different reasons. As a tumor grows, it can irritate or damage the lining of the colon, leading to bleeding. This bleeding might not be heavy, and you might not even see it every time you go to the bathroom. But even small amounts of blood over time can lead to anemia and other complications. And while it's tempting to assume the cause is something less serious, like hemorrhoids, it's crucial to rule out more serious conditions, like colon cancer. The important thing to remember is that any rectal bleeding should be checked out by a doctor, especially if it's persistent or you're seeing it regularly. It's better to be safe and have a professional evaluate the cause than to ignore it and potentially miss catching something early. Colon cancer is most treatable when caught in its early stages, so getting this symptom checked out as soon as possible could make a big difference. Feeling of incomplete evacuation. Another sign of colon cancer that you might not immediately think of is the feeling of incomplete evacuation. This is when you have the sensation that you still need to have a bowel movement even after you've just had one. It's like your body is telling you that you haven't fully emptied your bowels, and it can be pretty uncomfortable and frustrating. This feeling can be persistent and doesn't go away, even though nothing more comes out when you try. This symptom occurs because a tumor in the colon can obstruct the passage of stools. The obstruction might not be complete, so you're still able to have bowel movements, but it can be enough to cause discomfort and that nagging sensation that you're not done. It's not necessarily painful, but it's definitely noticeable and can make you feel like something's off. It's important not to dismiss this feeling as just a quirk of your digestive system. While it might be easy to think that it's just a temporary issue or related to diet, it's a sign that should prompt you to pay attention to your body. If this sensation of incomplete evacuation is new for you, especially if it's happening consistently over time, it's a good idea to get it checked out. Like with rectal bleeding, the sooner you address this symptom with a healthcare professional, the better. Early detection of colon cancer significantly increases the chances of successful treatment, and symptoms like this are your body's way of signaling that something might be wrong. Chronic abdominal discomfort. When we talk about abdominal pain or cramping, most of us think about things like indigestion, gas, or maybe something we ate that didn't sit right. It's a common experience and often nothing to worry about. But when this discomfort becomes chronic, meaning it doesn't go away or keeps coming back, it's something to pay attention to. Chronic abdominal discomfort, especially when it's paired with bloating, could be a sign that something more serious is going on, like colon cancer. The thing about abdominal discomfort is that it can vary so much from person to person. For some, it might feel like a dull ache that's always there, just under the surface. For others, it might be sharp pains that come and go, or a feeling of fullness even when you haven't eaten much. The problem is, these symptoms are easy to dismiss. We might think, it's just stress, or maybe I'm eating too quickly. And while these explanations might be true, they can also make it easy to overlook something more serious. One of the reasons chronic abdominal discomfort is often overlooked as a sign of colon cancer is because the discomfort isn't usually severe. It's not the kind of pain that sends you rushing to the doctor. Instead, it's often mild and nagging, something that's easy to live with or ignore. But this kind of pain, especially if it's persistent, can be an indication that something is wrong with your digestive system. In cases of colon cancer, this discomfort can be caused by a tumor growing in the colon, which can obstruct the passage of food and waste through your digestive system. This can lead to a buildup of gas, causing bloating and pain. The pain can also be due to the tumor itself pressing on the surrounding tissues and organs. If you're experiencing chronic abdominal discomfort, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like changes in your bowel habits, it's important to take it seriously and talk to a healthcare professional. Unexplained iron deficiency, anemia. Anemia is another sign that can be linked to colon cancer, and it's one that's often missed, especially in men and postmenopausal women. Anemia happens when your body doesn't have enough red blood cells to carry oxygen to your tissues, which can make you feel tired, weak, and short of breath. But when anemia occurs without a clear cause, like heavy periods or a diet low in iron, it could be a sign of something more serious, like colon cancer. Colon cancer can cause anemia through slow, chronic blood loss in the stool. This blood loss is often so gradual that it goes unnoticed. You might not see blood in your stool or have any other obvious symptoms, but over time, the loss of blood can lead to a drop in your red blood cell count, resulting in anemia. This is why it's important to pay attention to symptoms like unexplained fatigue or weakness, especially if they're new or getting worse. For men and postmenopausal women, unexplained anemia is particularly concerning because they're not losing blood regularly through menstruation. When these groups develop anemia, it's a red flag that something else might be going on. In many cases, this kind of anemia is discovered through routine blood tests, and while it might be tempting to attribute it to something minor, it's crucial to investigate further. If you or someone you know is dealing with unexplained anemia, especially if it's paired with other symptoms like weight loss or changes in bowel habits, it's important to consult with a doctor. Early detection is key, and anemia could be one of the first signs that something isn't right. Unexplained weight loss. You know how sometimes people lose weight without even trying? It sounds like a dream come true for some, but when it's unexplained and unexpected, it can actually be a sign of something serious, like colon cancer. Unexplained weight loss is one of those symptoms that's easy to brush off, especially if you're not actively trying to lose weight. But here's the thing, if you're shedding pounds without changing your diet or exercise routine, it could be a red flag. The way this works is pretty straightforward. When colon cancer develops, it can affect how your body absorbs nutrients from the food you eat. If your body isn't getting the nutrients it needs, you might start losing weight, even if you're eating the same amount as before. It's like your body is using more energy than usual because it's fighting the disease, which leads to weight loss. Sometimes the cancer itself causes changes in your metabolism, making your body burn calories faster than normal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Weight loss can happen for so many reasons, like stress, changes in lifestyle, or even a new diet plan. That's true, and it's one of the reasons why this symptom often goes unnoticed as a sign of colon cancer. People might assume it's just a normal fluctuation in their weight, especially if they feel fine otherwise. But when this weight loss is unexplained and happens over a relatively short period of time, it's worth taking seriously. Colon cancer is tricky because the early symptoms can be subtle, and weight loss is one of those symptoms that doesn't seem like a big deal at first. However, when we look at cases where colon cancer is diagnosed in its later stages, weight loss is often one of the signs that prompted people to see a doctor. By that point, the cancer might have advanced to a stage where treatment is more difficult. That's why catching it early, before it progresses, is so crucial. People often think of weight loss as a good thing, especially if they've been trying to drop a few pounds. But if the pounds are coming off without any effort, it's something to be mindful of. We tend to overlook or rationalize changes in our bodies, but being aware of what's normal for you is important. If your clothes are getting looser and you haven't done anything to cause it, that's a sign your body is trying to tell you something. Ignoring this could mean missing out on catching colon cancer early when it's most treatable. Persistent changes in bowel habits. Another sign to keep an eye out for is persistent changes in your bowel habits. We all experience changes in our digestion from time to time, maybe after a big meal or when we're stressed. But if you start noticing changes that don't go away, like ongoing constipation, diarrhea, or a change in the consistency of your stool, it's time to pay attention. Colon cancer can cause these changes because the tumor can disrupt the normal functioning of your colon. For instance, a tumor might block part of your colon, making it harder for waste to pass through, which could lead to constipation. On the other hand, some people experience diarrhea because the tumor causes the colon to secrete more fluid than usual. It's easy to dismiss these symptoms as something less serious, like irritable bowel syndrome or IBS. But if these changes persist, it's important to get them checked out. Persistent changes in bowel habits are often overlooked because they seem like normal everyday issues. But if you find yourself dealing with these symptoms for more than a few weeks, it's not something to ignore. Your bowel habits are a good indicator of your overall digestive health, and when something is off, it's your body's way of signaling that something might be wrong. These 6 signs – unexplained weight loss, persistent bowel changes, chronic abdominal discomfort, unexplained anemia, rectal bleeding, and the feeling of incomplete evacuation – are all crucial indicators of colon cancer. While they may seem subtle, they shouldn't be ignored. If you notice any of these symptoms, don't wait. Consult a healthcare professional immediately. Your health is worth it.